Cecil Township Board of Supervisors, regular monthly meeting, Monday, August 2nd, 2021 to order. Please rise and salute our nation's flag.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Supervisor Sabavic, Cassiola, Claire, Edizio in attendance, along with Planning Director, Assistant Manager Jack King, Sean Buckabinski, Police Chief, Engineer Dan Dizerod, Township Solicitor Gretchen Moore. Citizens' comments. Comments will be taken at this time for any item to be voted on by the board that appears on the agenda. General Township comments or questions will be addressed after the Board of Supervisors discussion of old business. Please step to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, Kara Sheridan, 58 North Capoli. I had a question about 133-2021. Last month when we were here, we asked questions about when it was going to the Planning Commission. Didn't know for sure. There's no published Planning Commission agenda on the website, so between then and now, there was really no way to know if we could go hear about that at that Planning Commission meeting. So I guess a suggestion that there be some way that there are a bunch of people that want some more information on this particular topic. If there's a way we could put what's being held during the the zoning board meeting or anything that's being heard ahead of time that we can get prepared. And also, how do I personally get access to the information that was presented and approved through this first step of the process before conditional use hearing?
I don't think they even presented a plan yet.
What topic are we talking about? I don't see 123.
Yeah.
One-
They presented something to the planning.
What is it?
133.
133-2021, right? They presented to the planning commission and it was approved. What?
It was all the planning commission did was recommend that the supervisors hold the public hearing. So if the public hearing is the first step in the process, it's a clustered, it's a clustered development. So they have to come in and make a presentation as a conditional use to the Board of Supervisors. So they've not submitted anything detailed with the exception of a concept plan.
And that's what was reviewed by the planning commission.
It was reviewed by the planning commission and it was put forward to the board to recommend that a public hearing be held.
Okay,
So,
and at the public hearing, they'll present what the details of that
Yes.
plan are?
yes.
Okay. All right, and do we know, are they filing as a PRD or is it under regular zoning?
They're filing under R2 as a cluster development.
Okay.
I'm sorry, R1 is a cluster development. And in R1, it requires, the density stays the same. Half of the property has to be open space. So
Okay.
they're only proposing out of 130 acres, they're only proposing to develop 65 of it.
So at the hearing, they will present a detailed plan
Yes,
that will
so
then be voted on by.
No, it's not a detailed plan. It's not like the plan that the planning
It's-
commission review after.
it's a concept plan. If the board wants to approve this concept of a cluster development, or they say no, if you can develop it as just as R1 the way it is.
If we approve it as a conditional use, then they'll go back to the planning commission with the regular subdivision with all the line lots and
And where the
numbers.
entry point is, and if there's
Exactly.
place.
Oh, they'll show
No.
entry point on this for the conceptual plan.
Okay, so what is being conditionally approved is a cluster,
Right.
a high-level cluster.
We didn't see that yet, we don't know.
Right, that's what I'm asking, like, if we don't have the information ahead of time, and we're having a hearing about it, like, is there a way to have information ahead of time so that people, when they come to a hearing where something is going to be approved, have the ability to ask questions before something gets quote-unquote
We
approved?
won't be voting on it at that conditional use hearing. We'll close it, and then you have time to make comments to the planning commission, to us about the plan itself.
Okay, so there's no vote that happens, it's just the hearing and then subsequent meeting after that gets
Right,
voted.
and if after the conditional use hearing is closed, we'll go back and we might get comments from residents or from the engineer or from the solicitor, but we may then come up with conditions that we may say you have to do extra landscaping in this area, or we may come up with special conditions to approve it as a conditional use. it's basically a use by right with conditions. So we have to see their plan, and then that night we won't say, well, here are your conditions. We'll be seeing it for the first time, just like you.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't other information that was either presented to the planning commission or being provided, that could be provided at a time, so that people coming to a hearing would be able to ask more and more questions of that kind of
Then
stuff.
we can ask us, then, we'll be asking the same thing, adding if we need conditions.
Okay, all right. That was
Now, there are some base conditions in a conditional, for the application itself. There are certain required ones that are already in there, but we can add additional ones once we see their plan. Like if we don't like their entrance, there's nothing about it as a standard for an entrance here, but if we don't like it, we can add, say, the condition is you have to move that down the hill or up the hill or do this or take this hill out or something.
Right, or, there needs to be more place for a wider road for parking or something, all those kind of things.
Exactly,
we can adjust
yes. Yeah, you don't have to know those questions yet.
that. Okay, and then there's a subsequent approval that has to happen at the planning commission level after this conditional use hearing and approval to move forward.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So I was at that meeting as well, and the board member Budovich talked about it, maybe a second entrance being made available. They had no public space, public building, community building, or a swimming pool or park or anything like that. So those were some issues already brought up by the board.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Those are the kind of things that have come up here time and time again, and that would be good to know. Okay. The other question I had was regarding item resolution 141-2020. There's something here called an agricultural security zone board. What is that? It's not a board I've ever heard of before. I'm just curious what it is, what the duties of that board would be.
Right, so that's an excellent question. There is a statute related to the ag security areas, and the statute provides for a board, and it's specific in what it requires. It requires 3 active farmers, 1 citizen resident, and 1 member of the local governing body. And I asked the same question today because I wasn't familiar with it. And my understanding is here in Cecil, they had one a while ago, but it hasn't been active in many, many years, maybe since 2000. So my understanding tonight is the board is going to start discussing what that looks like in terms of let's get that particular board going again. And my recommendation is going to be let's put it in a resolution too, so we can see somewhere what that board looks like. Do they want to put terms on it? Under the law, it's at the pleasure of the board, but they could certainly put terms and some structure around the board. But it's just kind of defunct right now.
Well, I don't know if it's defunct. What happens is the property owner, you get some benefits if you get your property into an agricultural security district. Years ago, when it first came about, we had people asking, every month they come and ask to have theirs added to the agricultural security acreage. And after a while, everybody who was interested made their application, and when they were accepted, that board would act on it, and our board would act on it.
Right.
Then it died off. So I mean, it's not that they were defunct so much as no one's asked in all these years.
So does that mean there are new requests coming in for, requesting?
I don't know what property.
Otherwise, what is the duty of?
It's not just request to get in an ag security area. It's also the board has the duty of seeing who should be out based on the criteria. They believe people don't meet the criteria. So I believe it's new people in, if certain property needs to be out, so it's establishment, modification, termination of certain agricultural security areas.
Okay, so
But it has to do with the ag security areas. which
Okay, and
you
they
have.
would look at that and that board would make recommendations, which then would have to be approved or denied by the board of supervisors, or it's a governing.
It ultimately
body.
comes to this board.
Okay, okay. And the only reason, and I have no, concern over who's on this board, but just as a general rule of thumb, like we sat here a couple months ago and said, open board positions need to be advertised on the website. We said there needs to be a listing. This isn't listed as a board on the website. So in the spirit of transparency and making things, accessible to the public and knowledge of what's going on here, I would say that we should be listing that type of stuff, and we should make it be known that there's an open position there, so that maybe other people, because we didn't even know about it, I'm sure the public doesn't know about it, if they had some interest and there were others that were interested in participating, to give them an opportunity to apply. So that's my only question or comment on that topic. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.